Great to see my next guest back in action. He's going to be taking on Alonzo Menifield August 7th at UFC 265. It is Ed Herman back here on the program. Ed, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good, man. Feeling good. Just relaxing this morning. Got to head to the gym here in a few and get a little bit of work in today.
Yeah, and I know you were supposed to fight in June against Danilo Marquez. I imagine it was an injury that took you out of that one. What happened there?
Actually, I had been talking to the UFC about wanting to fight on a live show, or with a live audience. And so when I originally signed that fight, I figured, COVID had passed and we would have all live shows. I didn't realize that they were planning on continuing the UFC Apex show with no fans and all that, because it must save them money, because they're all set up and they're fulfilling their ESPN contract. But anyway, I told them, look, I want to fight on a live audience show. So basically I pulled out of that fight because I didn't want to fight at the Apex with no fans.
Understandable.
And they said, look, we can't guarantee when we're going to have you on another card, blah, 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 blah. But I said, whatever, I'm not fighting with no fans. It was too weird last time. I'm an entertainer. I'm a gladiator. I want to hear those fans screaming bloody murder. You know what I mean? I need that. That's what got me into all this in the first place is that feeling you get fighting in front of a live audience, man. There's nothing like it. So that was the main reason, man. It wasn't an injury. It wasn't nothing to do with opponents. It was just the fact that I wanted to fight in front of fans.
Interesting. I guess there's nothing in your contract that says if there's going to be fans or not. Like there's no COVID updated contract, I would imagine.
No.
Okay, so interesting. What was were they upset when you said that? I mean, I think that's a reasonable request. I mean, a lot of people like fighting with an audience, right?
They didn't seem super happy about it, but I think Mick understood where I was coming from. I'm a freaking entertainer, man. I feed off of that crowd. So I held my ground there, and it worked out for me because I feel like I have a really good matchup, and I'm getting to fight in front of a big audience in Houston. So I'm stoked.
Yeah, and let's talk about your opponent, Alonzo Menefield, 10-2 record. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
Definitely, big, strong, explosive, athletic guy. I don't feel like he has the martial arts background and experience like I do, but he's definitely a very dangerous guy. But I think it's a great matchup for me. I think I'm better than him everywhere. I know I say that every time, but I really do feel like that. He's a dangerous striker, so I just got to be careful. I think the first few minutes is when he's going to be the most dangerous. So, I'm ready to weather the storm and look to get the finish as soon as I can.
And you're going to sort of have that advantage over a lot of your opponents in that you have fought so many fighters. You have way more experience. And in this case, you're fighting a guy who's only got 12 fights. How much do you feel like that will be a factor?
Yeah, I think it'll be a huge factor. Fight's a fight. Anything can happen. But I feel like if I fight smart, use my experience, that I can definitely go out there and get the W.
Training camp, how's everything going over at American Top Team Portland? Who are you mainly getting to work with?
Training camp's going good, man. I got a whole crew of talented guys that I'm training with. Obviously my coaching staff, Mike Pierce and Fabiano Scherner, and I got a new stand-up coach who's been helping me. My old friend Dylan Fussell, who's just kind of moved back from Thailand. He's been there the last 8 years, but he's an old Team Quest guy that I've known for a long time. So I'll be excited to have him, in the mix there in my corner. But, a lot of the same training partners that I've had, a lot of young guys that, probably aren't, big names, but young guys tough enough to push me to get me ready for this.
Taylor Johnson's training with you, I believe, right? He's in Bellator. I'm quite familiar with Taylor because I remember him even before Contender Series, him fighting in LFA. So I know he's a bit of an asset for you, I would assume.
Absolutely. So Taylor's a great training partner. Big, strong guy, super athletic, really awesome dude, too. We love having him on the team. He's been a great addition to our team.
Is he still living in his RV? Do you know?
So
I thought that was a cool concept because he put it near the gym, right? And then he could just go right to practice.
Right. Well, so he lives in Southern Oregon, so he would be traveling back and forth from the gym to Southern Oregon. So sometimes he would bring his RV, and just stay in his RV, while he trained to be either at the gym or at, the gym owner's house. I haven't seen him. I don't know if he's been staying in his RV a lot lately, but he was back and forth. We got a couple other guys from Southern Oregon too who who have been coming down with him. We got a couple guys fighting this weekend in Seattle area in Cage Sport, I think is the name of the show.
Yeah.
We got 7 guys fighting on Saturday. It's pretty cool.
Oh, do you really? Yeah. I didn't even know they were running shows again for Cage Sport. I guess now they're probably allowing some fans back, right?
Yeah, this full fans in the house. So we're excited, man. We haven't had local fights for a long time. So we got all these young guys chomping at the bit to get in there and battle. So we actually have 9 guys fighting this weekend. We have 7 on Cage Sport and 2 on a smaller show called Koga.
Cool. So, are you going to be cornering some guys this weekend?
I'm going to be up helping corner some of the guys. Yeah.
Nice. That'll be good. How much do you have to cut much weight for 205? I know you fought middleweight most of your career, but is it much of a cut to get to 205?
Yeah, bro. I'm swole. Check this shit out. Oh.
I can tell.
I don't cut a ton of weight, but I start camp, and I kind of just slowly get down to where I need to be. There's no dramatic weight cut for me. I get down pretty close to where by the time I get there for fight week with my water loading and all that, I really only end up cutting a few pounds of water the day of, maybe 3 or 4 pounds actual like sauna weight coming off. But I'm bigger than everybody thinks. So all these guys think, oh, Ed Herman used to be a middleweight. He ain't that big. But I think I've been surprised a lot of guys with my size and strength. So
there you go. I imagine Fabiano Schörner going to be in your corner. Who else will be in the cage with you that night?
Yeah, like I said, Fabiano and Mike Pierce will be there, and then Dylan Fussell is a new add-on for as my striking coach.
How do you see the fight playing out on August 7th?
Well, you're going to have to wait and see, my friend.
That's a teaser. I like it.
I think it's going to be a scrap, man. Alonzo comes out fast. Like I said, I got to weather that storm the first couple of minutes, and then he starts to fade. He gets tired as the rounds goes on. I'm sure he's working his cardio. I've seen a few pictures of him. He looks a little leaner maybe than he has in the past, but I think he's still transitioning from that football body to an MMA fighter's body. I'm looking for the finish like always. I can see myself finishing him in many ways. I think his chin's a little suspect, and I think his ground game's a little suspect, especially, if he gets stuck on his back down there, he's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Is there any past opponent that you've had that reminds you of Alonzo at all? Maybe in terms of the style matchup or anything like that?
Clifford Starks a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Similar
Okay, yeah.
build, really explosive, super, powerful puncher. But Clifford was a way better wrestler. You know what I mean? So to me, he's like a lesser version of Clifford Starks.
Do you want one more fight in this year? Is that kind of what you're aiming for?
Possibly. We'll see how things go. I'm trying to take it one fight at a time. I'm up for a contract negotiation after this fight, so we'll see what happens.
Do you have one left, or this is the last fight in your contract?
I have 2 left, so after this one, then I'll have 1 left. And
then renegotiate. That makes sense.
They like to renegotiate before you become a free agent, usually, so that's probably what will happen.
I imagine all intentions are you want to stay with the UFC and retire there, because you've been there pretty much most of your career.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd like to get one more good contract and, finish it up with the UFC.
Right off in the sunset. We talked last time. I know you were mentioning you were a Trailblazers fan. Did you watch the NBA Finals at all?
No. Actually, last night, I just happened to catch like the last minute of the game or something. I think last night was the last game, right?
It was 2 nights ago, but yeah.
2 nights ago, okay.
Yeah.
I used to be a Blazers fan. Things have changed a lot in that city, so I don't really know now. I'm not a big basketball fan anymore. They're a bunch of crybaby little bitches, I think.
What about, did you see, I don't know if this interests you at all because it's kind of close to you, but the Seattle Kraken, the hockey team, they just announced the roster yesterday. Did you check that out at all?
I did. I had no clue. I thought I heard something about it, and then some buddies of mine were talking about it who are super sports fans, and they're pretty excited about it. So that'll be fun to go up and maybe catch a game up there.
Would you go up to Seattle? And so you would go up and catch a game? Because as a Canadian, this is great to hear that we're getting more hockey fans out there.
Yeah, I didn't know much about hockey growing up because it's not a real big sport where we are. Mm-hmm. And the Northwest is, it's not very cold here. So, I feel like the Midwest, they have like frozen ponds and stuff to play hockey on growing up, and y'all up in Canada too. But, it's not real big out here. So when I moved to Colorado, though, I kind of got into hockey. It's really big out there. And so, I'm excited. Hockey games are fun to go to. I think
it's a good live sport. I'll give you that. Like that. Yeah. That is one thing I can say as far as like a live experience. It's much better than it looks on TV, I think.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Growing up, you see it on TV a little bit. It's kind of like soccer on ice skates. but going to a live game is a lot of fun. And when I was in Colorado, we were training some of the Eagles players who are like a small, they're not NHL, but they're like the next division down or something.
Yeah.
And we were training some of those guys that were coming in and working out. And so I kind of got into it, and they gave us free tickets. So it was a lot of fun to go watch. I didn't know you could just, like, your job could be like the one who skates over and kicks people's asses, or I would have got into hockey.
Well, not as much anymore. There used to be just like guys that was their job. They'd go out and fight. Now you actually have to be like good, because there's not as many enforcers there. But there's some that could throw, man. There were some really good goons, as they used to call them back in the day. So.
Yeah, there's a couple guys in Colorado on the Eagles. It would be like, only time I would see them is when there was a fight, and they were jumping the fence and going out there and scrapping. So it's exciting to watch.
Before we go, we were talking about the weather off the top. Get to do any outdoor stuff this summer at all? I know the fight's coming up, but get to do any camping or anything?
I've done a little bit of camping, a little bit of boating. I mean, it's been really hot here, like way hotter than normal. We got the same heat wave, same thing. Like, I don't have air conditioning in our house, and when that heat wave came, it killed us, man. It was crazy. Yeah, it was like 115 or something. It was pretty crazy. So it's been a hot summer, man. But I've been training all summer, because like I was going to fight in June. Right. Mm-hmm. And then shortly after that, I booked this fight. So I've pretty much been in the gym all summer. Yeah. I've been out a little bit, but I'm excited to go in and get this fight and go enjoy the rest of the summer with my family.
Ed, always a pleasure, man. Appreciate the time. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
Obviously I want to thank my team at American Top Team Portland. A couple small companies that help me out, locally, Healthy Roots hemp products. They got all the good CBDs, you could use. Rev Gear's been helping me out with gear for years, so I appreciate them.